Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the International Conference on World Breastfeeding Week. Breastfeeding, diet and nutrition, parenting, education, health, well-being, environment and sustainable development 2024. Commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 76 years of independence, and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 as part of awareness and campaigns. And also on occasion of World Breastfeeding Day, World Breastfeeding Week and World Breastfeeding Month 2024 as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Arts, Sciences and Wellbeing and all the international and national fraternity. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. We request those speakers who have registered for the presentations to kindly share your details in the chat box as seen on the screen, so that whenever we are inviting for presentation, we can invite you as per the order in the chat box. So today is commemorated as International Assistance Dog Week from August 4th to 10th in the US, as man's best friends are called so because of their loyalty and dedication towards their owners. Service dogs take that dedication even further, helping people with disabilities navigate their everyday lives. International Dog Assistance Week or International Assistance Dog Week, celebrated from August 4th to August 7th this year, is meant to honor service dogs and their trainers. Together, they have improved countless lives across the globe. Service dogs could be guide dogs, signal dogs, or dogs in any other capacity trained to help persons with disabilities. And Americans with Disabilities Act recognized service dogs in 1990. The California-based organization began creating partnership between people, dogs, and communities, and Guide Dogs for the Blind started its mission in 1942. Documented evidence suggests that the dogs were used in Europe to assist wounded soldiers during the war in 1700s. A number of events keep happening during International Dog Assistance Week. Check events in your city and volunteer to help like this, which are happening online and offline. Use this week to help out animals in need. You could volunteer at your local animal shelter, help with an adoption drive, or even aid a rescue if you come across an animal in distress. So if no events are happening in your neighborhood, host your own. Make it a community-funded project with proceeds going to animal welfare. Or you can also collaborate with us and we'll be able to help an event organized at your place, online or offline. Johns Hopkins University awarded Kirsch an honorary master's degree after he attended all the classes with his wheelchair-bound owner. So the golden retriever has a master's degree in mental health counseling. If you are going to be away for a considerable length of time, consider leaving a piece of clothing around. It helps elevate separation anxiety in dogs. Dogs do have separation anxiety, especially when their owners are not around. Meet Mr. Dog Mayer. A great Pyrenees named Duke was crowned the honorary mayor of Cormorant, Minnesota for the third time in a row in 2016. A German Shepherd, Orient helped his blind owner complete the Appalachian Trail, which is 2,100 miles long. A guide dog helped his man complete a 2,100-mile hike. Imagine, not just on the roads, but also help to hike a mountain. And it honors today International Assistance Dog Week honors the dedication of service dogs. International Service Dog Week recognizes special skills of service dogs and how they make a difference. Trainers put in a lot of hours. This week is a shout out to all amazing trainers out there who do such important work. The next time you see a stray on the street, show some empathy and help him out. Today is also commemorated as International Clouded Leopard Day, which is celebrated on August 4th every year. It is celebrated to raise awareness of one of the most beautiful and endangered species of animals. The clouded leopard is in a bid to improve their numbers, both in captivity and in the wild. This animal is known by other names, one of them being the mainland clouded leopard. These species of wildcats inhabit dense forests from foothills of the Himalayas to mainland Southeast Asia into south of China. Estimates show fewer than 10,000 clouded leopards living in the wild. These shy and nocturnal animals are an endangered species as they are illegally hunted for their fur and also being because of their habitat and constantly being threatened. The clouded leopard genetically diverged from pantherine cats million years ago. These are locally extinct in Singapore, Taiwan, and possibly Hainan Island and Vietnam. Its population around the world is suspected to be fewer than 10,000 mature individuals with no single population numbering more than 1,000 adults. So it was listed as vulnerable on the IUCN Red List in 2008 because of this. Large-scale deforestation and commercial poaching for the wildlife trade have continued to threaten the population of the clouded leopard. Their body parts are offered for decoration and clothing, even though it is legally protected in many countries. With their existence being continuously threatened, captive breeding programs were brought out in the 1980s. The clouded leopard has an average lifespan of 11 years in captivity, which is a good number compared to them living in the wild. International Clouded Leopard Day, ICLD, was established in 2018 by Howlett's Wild Animal Park to raise awareness of the clouded leopard. The day was spearheaded by Lauren Amos and Dan Kemp, with collaborations with zoos, charities, business, individuals, and many more. Millions of people have gotten to know about these animals and the dangers they face. As they are constantly kept in people's consciousness, there is a greater chance of conserving them and their habitat. As Lauren Amos and Dan Kemp worked with clouded leopards at Howlett's Wild Animal Park, they fell in love with animals and decided to celebrate all clouded leopards on August 4th every year, which was the world now has adopted. Owlet's Wild Animal Park is established as a private zoo in 1957. The animal collection in the Owlet's Wild Animal Park is open to the public in 1975. The clouded leopard is listed as vulnerable on the IUCN Red List in 2008. International Clouded Leopard Day is established by Howlett's Wild Animal Park in 2018. Clouded leopards can move at up to 40 miles per hour as fast as they can. An adult clouded leopard has 32 teeth. They are very capable of swimming but are not seen doing so often as they are shy animals. So this day, let's all raise awareness of the clouded leopard. These animals are still not as well known, and raising awareness of them and the dangers they face helps to preserve them. Watch a documentary on clouded leopards. It helps you to get to know them better. Celebrate this day by donating to a cause dedicated to helping clouded leopards. Getting more funds would help organizations preserve this species. Or alternatively, you can also volunteer at such organizations and also create awareness in the general public. They are not big cats. The clouded leopard is considered to be a medium-sized cat. They live in Asia in their natural habitat. They can only be found in Asia. Clouded leopards have a blotchy, clouded pattern on their coats, and they are named after their coat. Most cats are great climbers, but the clouded leopard is right up there with the very best and are great climbers. Clouded leopards have the largest canine teeth of all cats compared to its body size. So, International Clouded Leopard Day helps protect cloud leopards. These animals are vulnerable species and so must be protected. Knowing what effects we have on environment, especially against clouded leopards, helps us appreciate and take care of it. As people become more environmentally conscious, the environment gets better. International Clouded Leopards Day, just like most awareness days, support a good cause. Good causes like these should always be prioritized. Today is also commemorated as National Friendship Day, mostly in US, but it has spread to across the world. In some countries celebrating it. After a tough year, friends have proven they have always been there for many of us. So let's choose this day to appreciate the connections you have in life or to reach out to past friends and rekindle that bond. So it occurs on the first Sunday of August, that is August 4th, 2024, this year, and celebrates the importance of loving platonic relationship. Friendships are the purest form of human relationships for more than a century. We have celebrated the strength of friendship, and thanks to social media, we are able to continue celebrating with our friends, no matter where they are in the world. Friends, the family we choose, is celebrated on National Friendship Day on August 1st. Humans are the most social beings on earth. We need to relate to others. Just as Abraham Maslow exposed in his theory of human needs, our sociological needs motivate our behavior, encouraging us to make interpersonal relationships and connect with others on a deeper level. With such a huge need for human connection with people other than our significant other, It's no wonder that we celebrate an entire holiday based on the importance of friendship. As many of these days, as already mentioned, are a business marketing strategy, even this National Friendship Day was originally a marketing strategy for the Hallmark cards, which make friendship cards and various other greeting cards. Like many of these days are creation of these cards to market, to sell their cards, because every day, unless and until there is a day that is celebrated, they cannot sell, and unless and until they cannot sell daily, they cannot survive. So that's why every day they have created almost one or other day, like Mother's Day, Father's Day, Sister's Day, Cousin's Day, all kinds of Dogs Day, Cats Day, so that every day they can sell their greeting cards, gift items, so that the business can thrive and survive and make profits. So this is also, Friendship Day is also such a marketing strategy for Hallmark cards in 1930s. Founder Joyce Hall designated the day would take place on August 2nd and decided it would be a day to celebrate the people closest to you and send them a card or two in the process. So it soon became a bigger deal than originally planned when 1935 US Congress pronounced the first Sunday of August as National Friendship Day. So the day continued gaining popularity, and in the 1998 United Nations named Winnie the Pooh as the world's ambassador of friendship. In 2011, during their 65th session, the UN designated July 30 as International Friendship Day. So nowadays, we celebrate National Friendship Day on the first Sunday of August. Thanks to the advancements of technology, it is easier to get in touch with friends, to share and be thankful for them. This August 2nd celebrates the lover you create and share with your family that you choose, the friends who get through hard times and cheer you on during your most successful moments. So the Greeting Cards National Association started promoting the day of Friendship Day, but customers just don't buy unless and until there is some special occasion. So many such days have been created, like Mother's Day, Brother's Day, Father's Day, Friend's Day, Cousin's Day. So many days, like Cats Day, Dogs Day, Pets Day, so that every day they can sell the cards and gift items, and so that everyone can, even their customers can buy daily cards and gifts. In 1920s, as a marketing strategy to increase the sales of greeting cards, Hallmark Cards establishes and commercializes many such days. See, today the world is celebrating because of the marketing strategy, so that they can sell their greeting cards and various gifts since 1930. But of course, we are doing just to reiterate the relationships, because we have nothing to sell or nothing to, buy on these days. But the concept, especially the great Hindu culture, the Sanatana Dharma, where every day is a Mother's Day, every day is Father's Day. You don't need a day. Every moment you can embrace these wonderful relationships. So this is a great opportunity. No? Why we are commemorating these days is to understand the world has taken so many concepts from Sanatana Dharma, and it is presenting back, in a commercial purpose, in a commercial way. Everything is made commercialized. Even relationships are made commercial. Only when you give something, only when you get a benefit out of it, even though, and it is mostly material benefit rather than others. Today, we can see a lot of stress and strains even in the relationships. Why? Because they are becoming more and more materialistic rather than of kind, compassion, love, care, concern, and so on. We need to understand today, entire world is suffering because we take everything in a commercial way. So we are always are being taught in a policy that always demands something when you do something, but it's not in the case. What if nature demands and sets a price for the air it gives us oxygen, and for the same for air, water, soil, and all? No human beings would have existed, become extinct long back. When that day is not so far, even recent reports are also saying in the next 1 century, the entire human population will be wiped out because of our greed and exploitation, abuse, misuse of natural resources. We should come out as early as possible. Otherwise, we are going to be the only one species that are entirely responsible for our own species extinction. This Friendship Day is celebrated in different days, on different days, in different countries like Spain on July 20, India on first Sunday of August, Bolivia, July 23rd, Finland. Valentine's Day is more commonly celebrated as Friends Day on February 14, and Colombia, the second Saturday of March, and so on. And these traditions for this day also vary, as no two or more best friends have the same traditions. So they are unique to everyone. The shenanigans that best friends get up to are enjoyed shared only between them, which include memorable adventures, fun gatherings, and even inside jokes. These traditions are relied on national best friends. They are common or low-key common traditions, just hanging out and chilling at home, watching movies, or playing some games or sports with friends, or going on to the mall or to your favorite cafe together. And there are more elaborative ways to celebrate this day. You can also end up volunteering or doing some charity work that will help people, so that friends together can make a very good use of this day. And this day also you can dress up and head out to paint the town red, or having a fancy dinner. It doesn't mean literally go and paint the town red, but you can just decorate and enjoy. Presents are also exchanged on this day, like best friends lockets or scrapbooks, as already have been conveyed. This most of these days are commercialized days for their business of this marketing strategies by gifts, greeting cards companies and gifted companies, so that they can keep their business going on, growing on. Anyway, otherwise, leaving commercial aspect aside, this is a wonderful day to cherish friendship, because irrespective of one's caste, creed, uh, you know, religion, ethnicity, color, age, anyone can become friends with anyone, even with the nature also, animals, plants. So this relationship has to be embraced, not just this day. Every day is a friendship day. If you can embrace the friendships and relationships, not only just with humans, but also with flora and fauna around. So when we are talking about, especially we were discussing in previous sessions about working mothers. Today is also commemorated as Single Working Women's Day, especially with mothers, and when it comes to breastfeeding. Single women, especially those in labor force, continue a whole lot to the society, contributing, and Single Women Working Women's Day, held each year on August 4th, aims to highlight this very fact. And this unofficial day falls within Single Working Women's Week, as its name implies. This day celebrates all the women who are gainfully employed. Women have been part of labor force as far as written records show. When agriculture was chief occupation, both men and women shared in a heavy physical labor. The Industrial Revolution brought a lot of changes to the work situation for both men and women. At first, many families worked in factories as teams by the mid 19th century. However, because of a growing protest against the treatment of women and children in these factories, the roles changed again. Women were increasingly assigned domestic chores and men were sole providers. The minimum age for the child labor, appropriate working hours for men and women, and restrictions on women performing certain hazardous tasks, all these rules were set in the period. The traditional role women performed in the society continued until well into the 20th century. Soon, social and economic reforms, developments turned the tide once again. There was an increase in demand for public education, which required more teachers. Rapidly growing industries and organizations meant more workers were needed. Companies found they could hire women for simple tasks, often at a low salary than their male counterparts. The initial wave of women's movements, when women came together for social issues like suffrage and temperance, raised women's participation in the workforce to a great extent. At this time, still early on the 20th century, most of the female workforce was made up of younger single women, as most married women in the US did not yet work outside the home. The census, the Census Bureau data showed only 25% of women at that time were gainfully employed. Technological advance meant more and more physically demanding jobs could be accomplished with the push of a button, and the exclusive male tag on them vanished. Societies progressed, and the stigma and rules set on women entering the workforce gradually vanished. Single Working Women's Day was founded by Barbara Penny, a single working woman herself. Her unique perspective on being a single woman who held a job led her to see how much women just like her contributed to the society. Penny and her friends would often wonder why there were so many days for mothers, fathers, and even friends, but there was nothing for single women. Then they turned and created the Single Working Women's Affiliate Network and subsequently Single Working Women's Day. Today is also commemorated as Psychic Day. Mostly these are all US related commemorations, which is generally celebrated on the first day in the August each year, as it celebrates the power of all psychics. Psychics believe every person on this planet is born with psychic ability, and that's why these celebrations also include recognizing people who are trying to hone their previously dormant psychic abilities. There are many different definitions of the term psychic, although it commonly refers to the someone who is very intuitive and uses their extrasensory perception or sixth sense to acquire information that normal senses cannot pick up. The world itself has so many mysteries embodied in it. The word originates from the Greek word psychikos, meaning of the mind or the mental. The term psychic is credited to French astronomer and spiritualist Camille Flammarion, and many believe this word was introduced to the English language by English lawyer and legal writer Edward William Cox in the late 1800s. The world has been fascinated with the concept of various prediction systems. Since ancient times, astrology, the most widely known system of ancient fortune telling, included astrologists using position of celestial bodies to determine future circumstances and deliver insight into people's lives. Seers and prophets were prominent, and also they were advisors to king and queens. Ancient Egyptian seers were the priests of the sun deity. They are also practiced scrying by dropping ink into the water and then reading the shapes. The ancient Greeks believed the Pythia, the name given to a succession of priestesses who presided over the oracle of Apollo at Delphi, Greece, could deliver prophecies that were inspired by the god Apollo himself. Some accounts detail how the Pythia would deliver these oracles, an old term for a message given by the oracle in a frenzied state, speaking in gibberish the whole time. So, one of the most psychics who ever existed in the French apothecary and seer, Michael de Nostradam, although people know him by Latinized name Nostradamus, his written prophecies are quatrains number 6,338 and mostly deal with disasters like plagues, earthquakes, wars, floods, invasions, murders, droughts, and battles. All of these were not dated by him, however, are very general. So every science fiction was not spared, and many books, movies, franchises, television series featured psychic powers. Popular titles include Annie McCaffrey's The Talents Universe series, Jean Grey from Marvel Comics X-Men series, and the Disney Channel original series That's So Raven and its spin-off Raven's Home. So this psychic day was created by Richard R. Falk way back in the 19th century. This was popularized a publicity stunt on his part to promote some celebrity psychics he was managing. Whatever the reason, this day and related celebrations have attracted immense interest ever since. So we will then conclude today's commemorations here, and then we shall move on to the commemorations part is done. So we'll move on to presentations. Those who are still yet to make any presentations or those who have registered have to present can share your details in the chat box so that we can invite you for the presentation. So in the meanwhile, we'll move on to other topics on breastfeeding if there is still some time for it. Okay. So we're discussing about breastfeeding, and maybe you, as we have been mentioning, that a baby has to be exclusively breastfed till 6 months and continue till 2 years and beyond. Now, up to what age can a baby stay well nourished by just being breastfed? So this has been already answered. And again, let's look into it. Infant should be exclusively breastfed, that is, receive only breast milk for the first 6 months of life to achieve optimal growth, development, and health. Exclusive breastfeeding is defined as giving no other food or drink, not even water, except breast milk. It does, however, allow the infant to receive oral rehydration salts, ORS, drops, and syrups like vitamins, minerals, and medicines. Breast milk is ideal food for the healthy growth and development of infants. Breastfeeding is also an integral part of the reproductive process and important implications for the health of mothers. World Health Organization recommends the infant start receiving complementary foods at 6 months, that is 188 days of age, in addition to breast milk. So food should be adequate, meaning that they provide sufficient energy, protein, and micronutrients to meet a growing child's nutritional needs. Food should be prepared and given in a safe manner to minimize the risk of contamination. Feeding young infants requires active care and stimulation to encourage the child to eat. The transition from exclusive breastfeeding to full use of family foods is a very vulnerable period. It is the time when many infants become malnourished, contributing significantly to the high prevalence of malnutrition in children under the 5 years of age worldwide. It is essential, therefore, that infants receive appropriate, adequate, and safe complementary foods to ensure the right transition from the breastfeeding period to the full use of family foods. So let's look at the amounts of food to be offered based on the age of the baby. So for the baby of age around 6 to 8 months, start with thick porridge, well mashed foods, continue with mashed family foods. So 2 to 3 meals per day plus frequent breastfeeds, depending on the child's appetite. 1 to 2 snacks may be offered. Start with 2 to 3 tablespoonfuls per feed, increasing gradually to a half of a 250 ml cup. So around 9 to 11 months, finely chopped or mashed foods and foods that baby can pick up. Frequency can be 3 to 4 meals per day, plus breastfeeds, depending on the child's appetite. 1 or 2 snacks may be offered. So amount at each meal could be half of 250 ml cup or above. Around 12 to 23 months, family foods, chopped or mashed if necessary, and frequency is 3 to 4 meals per day plus breastfeeds. Depending on the child's appetite, 1 to 2 snacks may be offered. A 3/4 serving should be 3/4 of full 250 ml cup bowl. If a baby is not breastfed, give in addition to 1 to 2 cups of milk per day and 1 to 2 extra meals per day. Now, as we have mentioned, that even water should not be given to baby. Only the baby should be breastfed. Now you might be getting a doubt. Why can't we give water to a breastfeeding baby before 6 months when it is, hot? Because nowadays climates, temperature are increasing day by day, and year by year we see, every summer is getting hotter and hotter, and even other seasons are getting, hotter. Now, you might be getting doubt, we are drinking so much of water and we are becoming thirsty. So, why not baby? So, giving water to young babies puts them at risk of diarrhea and malnutrition because water may not be clean and cause the baby to have infections because they are still developing. Their immunity system is also not fully developed. Now, giving water may also cause the baby to drink less breast milk or stop breastfeeding early and therefore cause malnutrition. So, once the baby's stomach is full, baby may not take the breast. So that's why, due to various all these reasons, no other food, including water, is promoted to ensure that baby is getting enough nutrition. If mother gives water instead of breastfeeding, it will also cause the mother to have less milk in the future. See, it is also not just the child, but mother also needs stimulation for producing breast milk. If baby is not motivating mother through breastfeeding, through suckling, through various as part of process of breastfeeding, the mother will also slowly, gradually produce less breast milk. Again, that will impact the milk production. So that stimulation should not go down. The less stimulation, the less production of milk. So that's why the mother should be encouraged to breastfeed baby as many times as required, as longer as required. Because as the simulation lowers and there is no simulation, even the milk production will also stop. And that will make you dependent on other alternatives. So that's why, to prevent this, less milk or no milk in future, which baby requires. So we should continue breastfeeding with no alternative food. These are additional to what we have already discussed. And breast milk is more than 80% water. So the water requirements are met with the breast milk itself. Because as breast milk contains 80% of water, so the more breast milk you are providing to the baby, you are also providing water to the baby. So no need to worry. Especially the first milk that comes with each feed has more water content. Therefore, whenever the mother feeds her baby or feels her baby is thirsty, she can breastfeed him or her. So this will satisfy the baby's thirst and continue to protect the baby from infections and help the baby to continue to grow well. Babies do not need water before they are 6 months old, even in a hot climate. So you need not worry. The only thing you do, if you feel baby is thirsty, breastfeed him or her. Breastfeed the child. So this is one of the reasons that World Health Organization recommends that children to be exclusively breastfed for the first 6 months of life. A child is considered exclusively breastfed when he or she receives only breast milk without any additional food or liquid. Even water, with the exception of oral rehydration, solution drops, syrups or vitamins, minerals or medicines. When breastfeeding, the mother gives her baby all the water he needs while providing safe water and protecting the baby against diarrhea. Now let us look at few other commonly asked questions or frequently asked questions. So, what is a healthy diet for breastfeed babies and young children? From birth to 6 months of age, feed babies exclusively with breast milk, that is, give them no other food or drink, and feed them on demand as often as they want, day and night. At 6 months of age, introduce a variety of safe and nutritious, healthy foods to complement breastfeeding and continue to breastfeed until babies are 2 years of age or beyond, as long as you can breastfeed. So do not add salt or sugars to foods for babies and young children. Why should babies be breastfed exclusively? This is also already told, but still we'll look it up once again. On its own, breast milk provides all the nutrients and fluids that baby needs for their first 6 months of healthy growth and development. Exclusively breastfed babies have better resistance against common childhood illnesses such as diarrhea, respiratory infections, and ear infection. In later life, those who were breastfed as infants are less likely to become overweight or obese or to suffer from non-communicable diseases such as diabetes, heart disease, and stroke. Eating a variety of whole, unprocessed, and fresh foods even every day helps children and adults to obtain the right amounts of essential nutrients. It also helps them to avoid a diet that is high in sugars, fats, and salt, which can lead to unhealthy weight gain. Overweight and obesity and non communicable diseases. Eating a healthy, balanced diet is especially important for young children's development. It also helps older people to have healthier and more active lives. World Health Organization recommends that people eat a combination of different foods, including staple foods, cereals such as wheat, barley, rye, maize, or rice, or starchy tubers, or roots such as potatoes, yam, taro, or cassava. Legumes like lentils, beans, vegetables, fruit, and foods from other sources like milk and dairy products. Now, what are the benefits of eating plenty of vegetables and fruit as we have been advocating because of our, you know, World Health Organization recommends that people eat a wide variety of vegetables and fruits to be healthy and meet all the nutritional requirements which the non-vegetarian food doesn't provide. For snacks, choose raw vegetables and fresh fruit rather than foods that are high in sugars, fats, or salt. Avoid overcooking vegetables and fruits as this can lead to the loss of important vitamins. When using canned or dried vegetables and fruits, choose varieties without added salt and sugars. Vegetables and fruits are important sources of vitamins, minerals, dietary fiber, plant protein, and antioxidants. People whose diets are rich in vegetables and fruit have a significantly lower risk of obesity, heart disease, stroke, diabetes, and certain types of cancer. Now, as we have said that we should not eat a lot of sweet and salt and fats and oils. Now, is it healthy to eat moderate amounts of fats and oils? Moderate amounts of fats and oils are all part of healthy diet, but fats and oils are concentrated sources of energy, and eating too much fat, particularly the wrong kinds of fat, can be harmful to health. For example, people who eat too much saturated fat and trans fat are at higher risk of heart disease and stroke. Trans fat may occur naturally in certain meat and milk products, but the industrially produced trans fat, like partially hydrogenated oils present in various processed foods, is the main source. Use unsaturated vegetable oils like olive oil, soy, sunflower, or corn oil rather than animal fats or oils high in saturated fats like even lard, coconut, palm oil, butter, and so on. When people choose white meat like poultry and fish, which are generally low in fats rather than red meat. Eat only limited amounts of processed meats because these are high in fat and salt. Try to avoid them completely, even if you are unable to avoid. Take it in a very small quantity, not often, rarely, so that you will be satiating your taste buds. But now again, at what cost? Not at the cost of your health. So try to keep them away. And try also to opt for low fat or reduced fat versions of milk and dairy products. Avoid processed, baked, and fried fruits that contain industrially produced trans fat. Instead, go for fresh ones. Now, the next question would be, how can I reduce my intake of salt, sugar, and fats? Now, as we are discussing how, the side effects and harmful effects of consuming salt, sugar, and fats and oils. Now, definitely the next question would be, how would I reduce them? Reduce the intake. So people whose diets are high in sodium, including salt, have a greater risk of high blood pressure, which can increase their risk of heart disease and stroke. Similarly, those whose diets are high in sugars have a greater risk of becoming overweight or obese and an increased risk of tooth decay. People who reduce the amounts of sugars in their diets may also reduce their risk of non-communicable diseases such as heart disease and stroke. When cooking and preparing foods, limit the amount of salt and high sodium content. Condiments, example soy sauce, and also try to avoid foods like snacks that are high in salt and sugars. Limit mostly these junk food are high in salt and sugars and fats. So avoid all kinds of junk food. Limit intake of soft drinks or soda and other drinks that are high in sugars. And you can use fruit juices, cordial, syrups, flavored milks, yogurt drinks. Those are healthy. And choose fresh fruits instead of sweet snacks such as cookies, cakes, and chocolate. This way you can reduce the intake of high sugars and salt, fats, and so on. So we were discussing in the previous sessions, like UNICEF and World Health Organization have formed this global breastfeeding collective. The Global Breastfeeding Collective is a partnership of prominent international agencies calling on donors, policymakers, philanthropists, and civil society to increase investment in breastfeeding worldwide. This collective's vision is of a world where all mothers have the financial, emotional, technical, and public support they need to start breastfeeding within an hour of a child's birth. Breastfeed exclusively for 6 months and continue breastfeeding with adequate, age appropriate, and safe complementary foods for 2 years or beyond. So, the collective advocates for smart investments in breastfeeding, helps policymakers and non governmental organizations implement solutions and galvanize public support to get real results in increased rates of breastfeeding for children, families, and nations. The vision of Global Breastfeeding Collective is a world where all mothers and families are empowered, enabled, and supported to optimally breastfeed their children, and where early initiation, exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months of life, and continued breastfeeding for up to 2 years or beyond, together with appropriate, adequate, and safe complementary foods, become the social norm and helps children survive and develop their full potential. The mission of Global Breastfeeding Collective is to galvanize political, financial, and social support to scale up breastfeeding programs and to encourage adoption of supportive legal instruments and policies at the global, regional, and country levels within the broader development, humanitarian, and human rights agendas, thus accelerating progress to meet or exceed the World Health global target calling for an increase in the rate of exclusive breastfeeding to at least 50% by 2025. So the strategic goals of Global Breastfeeding Collective, which are four: foster leadership and alliances to galvanize support to breastfeeding, effectively integrate and communicate breastfeeding messages to reach strategic audiences, mobilizes resources and promotes accountability, build knowledge and evidence to enhance breastfeeding policies, program, financing, and communication. Now, how do we rate which country is doing better? Now that the global breastfeeding scorecard, it tells us about the progress in countries and regions. Governments play a fundamental role in protecting the health of women and children through improving policies and programs that support and enhance breastfeeding. The Global Breastfeeding Collective, in short known as the Collective, led by World Health Organization and UNICEF, has identified 7 policy action priorities, each with an indicator, and set a target to be achieved by 2030. The Global Breastfeeding Collective has developed a country scorecard to track progress on 7 policy actions on the breastfeeding practice within the countries. It examines these indicators at the national and global levels. The scorecard is designed to encourage and document progress on the promotion, protection, and support of breastfeeding. Each action has a progress indicator and target to be met by 2030, which serves as a call for action for policymakers worldwide to make breastfeeding support a collective national priority. The Global Breastfeed Scorecard was first introduced by the collective in 2017 and has been updated annually ever since. So when we look at the scorecards, so donor funding for live births in US dollars, we can see globally in 194 countries. Globally, 90 countries categorized as $1 in funding per birth. So the funding available is $1 per one birth. When distributed by region in Africa, 31 categorized as less than $1 in funding per birth in Africa. And in Americas, 18 countries categorized as under less than $1 in funding per birth in Americas. And in Asia, 29 countries categorized as under $1 in funding per birth in Asia. And in Europe, 34 countries. Categorized as no data available in Europe. And in Oceania, 10 countries recognized as no data available in Oceania. So when coming to India, so the present allocation in 2023 was $0.06 per chain by donor funding in 2013. We'll resume in a minute. Okay. So if anyone is willing to make presentations, can share your details in the chat box so that we can invite you and you can complete your presentations before we move on to other sessions. We see that many people have registered for making presentations. Even if you have missed your presentations in last 3 days, you can also do it today. No need to register again or in any of the coming days. Okay. So if you have any queries also, feel free to share any questions. Okay. Which is the best breastfeeding position? Okay. Generally, see, the mother is the best person to decide which is the best feeding position, which is comfortable both to the mother as well as the child without much strain or stress to both mother and child. However, there are common breastfeeding positions uh, which are more comfortable for your baby and also for you universally based on the data. So while babies are being fed, while babies are born with the reflex to look for their mother's breast, naturally many mothers need to support with the positioning their baby for breastfeeding and making sure their baby is correctly attached, that is latched to the breast. Now, breastfeeding takes time and practice for both mothers as well as babies. Now, to help you both make the most of breastfeeding, here are some positions to try. But remember, as I already mentioned, the most important thing is for your baby to be able to feed well. So it may take a few tries before you find what works best for your both. These are what we are going to discuss is commonly, these are very well used and commonly used positions. But this in some cases may work, may not work. So you have to do trial and error method to see which one is most comfortable to you. As you know, it also depends from person to person. So what are good signs of a what are signs of a good latch? Latching is attaching the baby mouth to the breast so that the baby can be fed. Now, how do we check whether the latching has happened correctly or comfortable? A comfortable experience with no pain, both with the child and as well as with the mother. If you are comfortable and if the baby is also comfortable, then that is a sign of good latch. Latch is attachment. So, and more areola is visible above your baby's mouth than below. Then that is also a good sign of good latch. Hope you all understand these technical terms. Areola. If not, I will try to show the anatomy and physiology. So generally, the protruding part from the breast, which is coming outward, is generally the nipple. And that nipple is connected to the ducts, which carries the milk from the breast, from the lobules. So the breast is an organ whose structure reflects its special function, which is the production of milk for lactation. Breastfeeding can be possible only when production of milk is present. So the epithelial component of the tissue contains lobules where milk is made. So which connects to the ducts that leads out to the nipple. So most cancers of the breast arise from the cells which form the lobules and terminal ducts. These lobules and ducts are spread throughout the background fibrous tissue and adipose tissue fat and make up the majority of the breast. The male breast structure is nearly identical to the female breast, except that the male breast tissue lacks these specialized lobules. That's why men cannot produce breast milk because of lack of these lobules, which are essential for producing this breast milk. Since there is also no physiological need for milk production by males, naturally it is also not present. That's a major difference between men and women with respect to production of milk. Anatomically, the adult breast sits atop the pectoralis muscle, the pec chest muscle, which is atop of rib cage. The breast tissue extends horizontally, side to side from the edge of the sternum, the firm flat bone in the middle of the chest out to mid-axillary line, that is the center of axilla or underarm. A tall of breast tissue called the axillary tail of Spence extended to the underarm area. This is important because a breast cancer can develop in the axillary tall or tail, even though it might not seem to be located within the actual breast. The breast tissue is encircled by a thin layer of connective tissue called fascia. So the deep layer of this fascia sits immediately atop of the pectoralis muscle, and the superficial layer sits just under the skin. So the skin covering the breast is similar to skin elsewhere on the body and has similar sweat glands, hair follicles, and other features. So when a clinician examines your breast, will also examine the skin in addition to the breast tissue itself when performing a breast exam. Now, the blood supply from the breast comes primarily from the internal mammary artery, which runs underneath the main breast tissue. The blood supply provides nutrients such as oxygen to the breast tissue. The lymphatic vessels of the breast flow in the opposite direction of the blood supply and drain into the lymph nodes. It is through these lymphatic vessels that breast cancers metastasize or spread to lymph nodes. Most lymphatic vessels flow to the axillary underarm lymph nodes, while a smaller number of lymphatic vessels flow to internal mammary lymph nodes located deep to the breast. So knowledge of this lymphatic drainage is important because when a breast cancer metastatizes, it usually involves the first lymph node in the chain of lymph nodes. This is called sentinel lymph node, and a surgeon may remove this lymph node to check for metastasis in a patient with breast cancer. And many additional changes are seen in the breast tissue during pregnancy and lactation due to changes in hormones during these times. So, your babies, why we are telling is, as we have already mentioned, by breastfeeding your baby, there are less chances of you getting cancer. So that's why there is no blockage and there is no additional growth of any mass or any obstructions that happen due to the simulation and due to production of breast milk. There is less chances, risk of getting cancer. So that is also good for your health. And so we are talking about signs of good latch, right? Your baby's mouth is wide open. So that means the baby, while feeding on the breast milk, is comfortable and it is not obstructing the flow of the milk. And their lower lip is turned in. Now you can see when your baby is breastfeeding, so the lower lip generally goes inside along with the nipple. So that if that doesn't happen, in many cases you see the lower lip doesn't go inside, then you see the milk is coming out. See, mostly we see the babies while they are breastfed, the milk is leaking from their mouth, and you can see it is coming out and getting drained from the mouth. This is due to bad latching that is happening. And their chin is touching or nearly touching your breast. So the position should be in such a way that the chin of your baby should be touching your breast. So these are the signs of good latching. That is proper attachment of baby to the nursing mother. Now, what are the signs of good positioning? Okay, latching is done, but that latching should remain intact, comfortable, till the baby feeds himself or herself, adequately. So you have to maintain a good position also, so that baby does not get choked or get stressed while breastfeeding. So your baby's head and body are in line. A baby cannot suckle or swallow easily if their head is twisted or bent. Generally, the head and body line should be straight, so that the baby can easily swallow the milk from the breast, and it can easily flow from the mouth to the stomach. If there is any twist or bend, there will be difficulty in swallowing. That's why you have to maintain a proper posture and ensure that baby is also maintaining proper posture. Your baby is held close to your body. A baby cannot attach well to the breast if they are far away from it. Generally, being too close, too far also creates an issue of latching. Too close will obstruct the flow of air. That's why you should not press your baby to your body. No, generally, the baby voluntarily looks out for the breast, nipple, and tries to latch himself or herself. So initially, there may be, or sometimes, there may be lack of voluntary attachment. Then you may need to latch yourself. In that case, when you are doing that, ensure that you are not putting baby too closer, that their nostrils, they have to take air also while drinking, right? So sometimes what happens, the nostrils, the nose gets blocked by the breast. There is no gap between the breast and, the nose. So the baby might be choked or might suffocate because of that. That's why they should also be taking air from their nostrils along with breastfeeding. So we see often, that babies are getting cough, or they are, having some difficulty because when they are latching, they are not properly latching, and even the nose also gets, obstructed by the breast, and then the baby has difficulty in taking air and also in the swallowing and suckling. So to avoid that, you should ensure that the baby is freely latched and should not be forced against your body or breast. Baby should voluntarily latch and unlatch. And your baby's whole body is supported with your arm along with their back. This is particularly important for newborns and young babies. Otherwise, you may damage, the bones and the spine of your baby. For older babies, support of the upper part of the body is usually enough, but especially still, because they will be gaining that control and it may strain them. So your baby approaches breast nose to nipple so that they come to your breast from the underneath the nipple. And so these are the good signs of, these are the signs of good position. Now, the baby is latched to your breast and you are maintaining position so that the baby can comfortably have breastfeeding as long as he or she wants. Now, what are the signs of effective suckling? Now, latching is done with proper positioning, and the baby should be swallowing, right? Taking the milk, feeding himself or herself on breast milk. Now, your baby takes slow, deep suckles, sometimes pausing. And you can feel when you are breastfeeding your baby, you can sometimes see your baby is suckling very fast or sometimes slowly, sometimes may not suckle at all for moment passing. All these are common depending on reflexes. The baby may be fast or slow or medium paced, and sometimes may feel like passing also. So these are the signs of effective suckling. The very first sign, this, baby is drinking and slowly swallowing it, and again suckling and again swallowing. Slow. Generally, it is slowly, but sometimes it may differ. So you may be able to see or hear your baby swallowing after one or two suckles. Another sign is you can also hear, you can see, like when we are drinking, when we are even when we are swallowing something, you can see the throat, and we can also hear that suckling, small sound, right? So you can also observe a similar thing after one or two suckles. Because if the breast milk is adequate and baby is able to suckle a mouthful of breast milk at once, you can hear after one suckle, or the baby, if there is not enough breast milk or the baby is not able to produce enough reflex so that he can suck out the mouthful of breast milk, then you may see one or two suckles. After one or two suckles, the baby may swallow. So suckling is comfortable and pain-free for you as well as for the baby. While baby is suckling the breast milk from your breast, that should be comfortable and also pain-free for you as well as for your baby. So that means that is effective sign for good suckling. And your baby finishes the feed, releases the breast, and looks contented and relaxed. Generally, babies require frequent feeding so that once they feel again hungry, they will start again latching and feeding themselves. Voluntary when they are near to the breast. Otherwise, by the signs, we should recognize that the baby is hungry and we need to again latch to the breast so that the baby continues to feed on breast milk. So you can see the baby, once the breastfeed is done, again it depends on the baby, and again you'll learn it over a period of time. There are, of course, certain common things that are there, but over a period of time you will become expert and you will get used to, and also the routines and all. So once you can see when your baby is breastfed, he looks contented, he's happy, he or she is happy and also relaxed. That means, okay, the baby has got enough feed and your breast is softer after the feed. Then you can feel light and soft. Because generally when there is milk in your breast, you can feel little bit heavy, little bit harder. And once that milk is taken out, by your baby, once that milk is consumed by your baby, then you can feel your breast is softer and also lighter. That means the baby all has consumed good amount of milk. Now, we also discussed about skin to skin contact, and that is very much important as it calms and releases both you and your baby and relaxes both you and your baby. And skin to skin regulates your body temperature, heart rate, and breathing. So that skin to skin contact with your baby, that's why this kangaroo care nowadays is widely recommended and being practiced. That also regulates your baby's temperature, heart rate, and breathing, and sometimes yours as well. It stimulates digestion and an interest in breastfeeding. It helps provide protection against infection as well. So these are the benefits of skin-to-skin contact. And coming to breastfeeding positions, generally we have few positions which are quite common and popular, which are widely practiced. One is cradle hold. The cradle hold is the most common position that helps provide an enjoyable feeding and bonding experience for both of you, yourself and as well as your child. Sit somewhere with support to keep your arm at the right height, like an armchair or couch, or you can have a pillow on your lap to support your arm if required. Position your little one in your lap with their head in the crook of your arm. Keep your baby's chest against yours so that they do not have to turn their head towards your breast. If necessary, use pillows to support your baby's head. Use anything that is soft, cushion, so that there is no additional stress. So this is most commonly used position. There is also a cross cradle hold position. This position is useful when first learning to breastfeed, and is a great option for small babies. Generally, initially, because you might be trying yourself different ways where you are comfortable, and especially small babies. It allows you to have a good control of your baby's head while helping your little one to latch on. Initially, this will be a very good option, and later on, you can move on to this cradle hold. Generally, even the first timers are also comfortable in cradle hold, but if you are having a difficulty, so at least first timers or those who are still unable to sort it out, this position would be a good option. This allows you to have good control of your baby's head while helping your little one to latch on. Think of this as a reverse of cradle hold. So to perform the cross cradle hold, position your baby in the opposite direction of the cradle. Hold with their head in your hand rather than the crook of your arm. So what you are doing earlier, you were holding the baby completely, not head, but with the crook of the arm, you are positioning entire baby. But here, along with the support for the entire baby, you are also supporting the baby to latch by holding the head of the baby to the breast so that the baby can latch his or her mouth to your breast. So this is another common push. Now, there is also another position that is underarm hold, or it is also known as football hold or rugby hold. If you are dealing with engorged breasts or sore nipples, then this is a great position to try. So this holds help to prevent plugged ducts by positioning your baby to empty the bottom ducts. It's a win for both of you. So while turned on your side, hold your baby like a football or rugby ball along your forearm with your baby's body on your arm and face towards the breast. So position your baby's legs under your arm and use other hand to support your breast. So this position especially is also useful if you have undergone a cesarean section and can't place your baby on your stomach while nursing, especially for C-sections, because of stitching is there till you are comfortable with that, this kind of practice is followed. But you can try various positions. And there is also one more common position, which is side lying position. If you and your baby are more comfortable lying down, actually, this is a great position to try. Lay on your side, place the baby on their side, facing you with their head at your breast, and support your back with pillows and make sure that the baby's nose is not obstructed. As already mentioned earlier, also ensure that your baby nose is not obstructed because you will be on one side and facing towards the baby, and baby is also facing your side, and both the ends on back of you as well as the back of your baby, it should be, there should be some support so that you will also not get strained and the baby also not get strained. You can use support of pillows so that they are soft, comfortable, and you will also not, you will have some support so that you can lie on your side. This is not good for longer periods, but you can try various positions. It's not that you should use only one position at different days, different times, based on the situation, context, or where you are accordingly. You can, if you are in bedroom, you can try, or if you like to, lie down on your bed, then this is one position. And similarly, whichever is comfortable, you can use a blend or mix of positions as per your convenience and as per your baby convenience. There is no hard and fast rule that you should use only this position or that position. So it entirely depends on you. Ensure that your baby is safe and is able to take, good breastfeed. And there is another position also, reclining position. So again, for this, you'll be needing a support at the back, like reclining chair. You'll be, you need to generally, this you can practice in sofa while sitting, or even while in lying position also. If your little one has difficulty latching or is restless or crying, this is a calming position to try. In fact, this position is sometimes called biological nursing. So support yourself with pillows and lean far enough back for your baby to be fully supported on your reclined body, not completely flat. Lay your baby prone on your chest to engage in skin-to-skin contact. Lay your naked baby on your bare chest. Enjoy bonding with your little one. We always try to, be naked, half naked on the top when breastfeeding, if you have privacy, so that you'll have good skin to skin contact. Even also try to keep your baby also naked so that you'll have a good skin to skin contact while breastfeeding initial days. So later on, the baby will also get used and it may not require you to be, you or your baby to be nude for later months. Initially, it is required so that the warmth, the temperature regulation happens. Once your baby is growing, starts growing, then that may not be required. So cherish this special time nourishing and bonding with your baby. And remember, getting the hand of breastfeeding takes time. Don't be in a stress or anxiety. No? It takes time for everyone, and even those who have already children also, every child is different, and sometimes every child you need to have a different position or it takes time. It may not be as easy. So it doesn't matter whether it is first child or second child or even third child. Doesn't matter. No, you have to keep trying, trial and error method, and make yourself and your baby comfortable. And also cherish this wonderful breastfeeding activity. Be patient with yourselves. Always reach out to your healthcare provider for support if you need. Nowadays, we have even specialists, breastfeeding specialists, lactation specialists, those who can help you, by providing you a lot of suggestions and support required. Even maybe at a later date, we'll have at the end of this conference, in the last days, we'll also have nutrition consultant or lactation consultants joining us and providing. So that's why it all depends on your queries. If you don't have any queries, then there is no need for them. If you have some good queries or if you have some good concerns, then we can invite them. Anyway, they will be joining us. But it all depends on you, what kind of concerns, questions you are. Basically, this is an opportunity, platform to invite your friends also, those who are willing to be mothers, even everyone, irrespective of whether gender, male, female. These sessions are very useful, and depending on the participants, the content also will be more enriching. So invite your friends also to join so that they can also share their concerns and experiences. So we will also look at some myths regarding breastfeeding. So we will see various myths and we will do some myth busting. Now, we'll just look at the chat box if there are any requests. Okay. So I want to find out, how do you handle a situation where mother is failing to produce milk? Okay. So there are various reasons for this. Now, we need to find out what exactly is the problem. If that is happening due to any medical reason, or that is happening due to physical reason. As already we have discussed, lack of stimulation will reduce the amount of milk. Now, we need to be more specific on what could be the reason why the mother is not able to produce milk. Once we identify and once we address this issue, then we can provide intervention. So, first we need to consult a gynecologist or a lactational consultant, where he or she can provide, first do breast examination and then do required tests and ensure that you are physically fit and you do not have any issues. Like we have mentioned earlier, these glands, there might be some issues with the glands, or there might be some issue with the breast anatomy or physiology of breast, and some ducts may be blocked, or there might be various reasons. Anyway, we will have an exclusive session also on that in coming days. I have noted, and we will also look at that. One thing is to check medically if there is any physiological or anatomical or physiological issue due to which she is not able to produce enough milk, or due to lack of hormones stimulation. We need to check. If not, we need to provide hormone therapy. Otherwise, we need to see if the mother is not getting proper adequate nutrition. Diet and nutrition is also essential so that mother can produce adequate milk, breast milk. That is one thing that we need to look at. And one other aspect is the kind of simulation the mother gets. So the better the simulation, the more the simulation for the breast, the more milk is produced in ideal conditions. So simulation is also required. So if there is not adequate simulation or proper simulation, then slowly the milk production falls down. That is why, generally what happens, initially there will be milk. Generally, a healthy nursing mother would produce somewhere around 650 ml to 850 milliliter of milk per day, breast milk from each breast. So taking that, the baby will have around 1 to 1.5 liter of breast milk every day from both the breasts. So, and again, this is an average amount I'm telling. Few mothers can produce more and few mothers can produce less. Again, it depends on the mother to mother. And this will continue to grow, or this may continue or lessen the production of breast milk. Again, it depends on the diet and nutrition, the health condition of the mother, and the kind of simulation that mother gets. Initially, mother will have good adequate amount of breast milk, but later on, slowly what happens? Because of lack of stimulation, the mother will start producing less amounts, and finally the milk production will stop. Even before 6 months also, it might get stopped because lack of stimulation and various other reasons like we are discussing. We'll also discuss that in detail in coming days. So you need to ensure, that's why it is very much important. Even if you are not breastfeeding your baby directly, as I told you earlier, when mother is working and she is expressing her milk and storing that milk in containers and then feeding to baby, generally what happens when mother is not directly feeding through the breast, but still the baby is fed with breast milk, there is lack of simulation. Either it is expressed through hand or a breast pump is used to extract milk from the breast and store. There might be lacking some or the adequate simulation, due to which gradually mothers start losing the breast milk yield gets lessened over a period of time. This happens generally naturally. If you are not breastfeeding, generally over a period of time, the milk production also stops. So that's why, World Health Organization and various other organizations recommend to breastfeed your baby till 2 years or beyond. So if you are getting good diet and nutrition, and if you are getting adequate simulation, so you will be producing breast milk till 2.5 years normal. But again, various factors are there like this, which affect the production of milk. And moreover, we'll also have a session in detail. So in coming days. So we'll move on to myth busting. So breastfeeding is easy. It is also a myth, but it is quite easy. But it is also myth that it is easy. But again, for many of them, it is easy. But for many, because sometimes, we generally tell, generally it is easy only most of the times, but sometimes it is not that easy. Babies are born with reflex, as I was also mentioning earlier. The kind of reflex, the magnitude of reflex to look for their mother's breast is sometimes also impacts the breastfeeding. Generally, babies are born with reflex to look for their mother's breast. So naturally, if your baby is brought to you or if your baby is near you, he or she will look for the breast and automatically latch to the breast and start suckling. However, many mothers need practical support and positioning their baby for breastfeeding and making sure their baby is correctly latched to the breast. See, generally, earlier, what happens, the joint families, when we were in the joint families, nowadays we are more into nuclear families, right? And even in the nuclear families, earlier, women were more looking at household chores along with their education. They are more involved into these family affairs or family business or family chores, whatever we call it. But nowadays, what is happening? Girls and boys are equally involved in various academic extracurricular activities. So, like boy, even girl is also not very much acquainted with these, family kind of parenting kind of things. Because nowadays, both boys and girls are equally engaged in various sports acts, and they are not getting enough time. In fact, what the purpose of saying this is, they are not involved as they are being involved. They are not getting opportunity, in fact, to get involved as they can learn by observation, by seeing, by involving. Earlier in joint families, or even today's present life of rat race, everyone is busy, everyone is preoccupied. And now with so many gadgets, we are not even interested or bothered to look into that. Everything we are Googling, but it's not that easy. Just by reading something, you cannot do it practical. In COVID time, we have seen with these online classes, many became engineers, many became doctors, many became architects. And, a lot of memes also came out. They are not able to find proper, employment or essential skills were not there. So that doesn't come like that. You need practice for everything. So that observation, generally when we are in families or joint families where you have someone, uh, you know, being a mother or someone being a nursing mother or someone around, you observe them, you talk to them, you also help them, support them, and you discuss with them, you acquire lots of knowledge And you also observe, you also feel, you also, see, you also support, you also sometimes help them in positioning or latching. So, and you also, see, discuss various aspects. So in that way, you are also gaining lots of knowledge. But nowadays, that opportunity is not uh, being provided because both are away, and we have most of them are nuclear families, and we don't generally see unless and until you have extended families or friends who have, and you are getting enough time. In fact, it's not that being a nuclear family you don't have opportunities. In joint families, you have people around within your home or within your vicinity or building or apartment, even if you are living in a different portion also, in different flat, but still you can experience these things. But nowadays, being more engaged into gadgets and more engaged into academics, employment, and not interested, being not interested, basically being interested and being not interested in these activities. And even this breastfeeding, many courses have come up in hospitals, even we also recommended. In fact, we advised also many hospitals, many, even parents also come to us for counseling, various things, and especially this marriage counseling and all. We are nowadays, we made it mandatory, to go through these courses. Courses doesn't mean you get a certificate, you have to pay fees, something like that. No, it again depends. That's why there's a lot of lactation consultants. Especially because you don't have that kind of experience of being mother or nursing mother. So you need to learn. Now there is no one like grandma or mother to teach you everything in detail. Sometimes mother is also fully occupied with her job duties, and I mean, you don't get opportunity to learn or experience. Now this is a case where you have to learn by yourself, or you need some support. No, that's why there is also a tradition, to send uh, pregnant women to their uh, mother's place. Why? Because at least they will have, mother will be helping her to take care of herself and her baby. That's why there is also a tradition. I don't know, not everywhere it is followed, but mostly it's also coming from longer period. Once um, after the pregnancy is confirmed, generally after 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, uh, generally the mother, the woman, pregnant woman, is sent to her mother's place because she feels more comfortable there, and because she has been there since her childhood, and she feels more secure, more comfortable, and more happy. Psychologically also she should be happy, and she has to be well taken care of, and you know in all other aspects also. That's why these traditions, cultures and traditions have been put in place for a very good reason, logic behind. But nowadays no, we have other alternatives. So people are, and it is not also practically possible because sometimes they are far away, and even they are also not able to take care of these things. So now there, even it is not possible. Even work mothers are also working. Those who are working, they are working till 7th month, 8th month also. So they cannot put a leave and go to their mother's place, or in-laws place also. It's not always mother. So generally it happens mother, First preference is mother, otherwise mother-in-law or someone. Here the point is someone who has similar experience and who can support them, even if not mother or mother-in-law, someone who can support them, who have experience. If no one is there, then the last option is visiting a lactation expert or a hospital, where you will be adequately trained, or you can attend various workshops or seminars, or you can also use online resources where you can go. Generally, we are also advising 1 day, 1 week, 1 month workshops daily based on their availability. And same like we are doing now, in detail, very specifically. We also train the mothers, or to be moms, to be mothers, about all their doubts, about pregnancy, about breastfeeding. They come up really with very good questions. They have a lot of apprehensions, assumptions, and they keep googling and they get more doubts nowadays. Earlier, and they also get cleared, but more confused. See, there is nothing wrong in googling, but what happens is no, they too much information is flooded, and that overflow of information doesn't always help us to take decision. Sometimes, too much information can also be a problem, because too many choices will be having again which one to choose, the dilemma. So having diversified information, lot of information, and with varied, say, perspectives, people get more confused and they are more afraid, more anxiety. They'll keep asking, in this website it is like this, in this YouTube channel it is like this, on this blog it is like this, my mama has told like this, my aunt has told like this, and whether all this will happen or which one will happen, which one will not happen, why it has happened, whether it will happen to me or not. If it happens to me, why it only happens to me? Like a lot of questions are there, And we also, as a consultant, as a professional, we also need to be very patient in answering those queries, because they have their own apprehensions, and their experience might be different, and they keep always validating, the information, and they try to relate and see how far it is closer to them, whether it is applicable for them. So that's why these different kinds of experiences, why we are talking about all these things, is whether breastfeeding is easy or not. It's not just as simple as generally it is easy, but still you might face some challenges. So breastfeeding takes time and practice for both mothers and babies. Breastfeeding is also a time intensive, so mothers need space and time, support at home as well as work. It's not like rushing out and tell your baby to suckle milk as fast as possible. I need to go, I need to do that. But that doesn't happen that way. You need to have time, you need to have space, and you also need support. So while you are breastfeeding, someone should support you, or you should take out some time, you should plan. That's why, many women are not nowadays supporting. That's why we see the rates are coming down. But now at what cost? The cost of your baby's health, baby's well-being. How much you earn if you are paying it for hospitals or to medical institutions for your baby's health lifelong, then what is the use? Right? Your hard-earned money, your hard, invested efforts will go in vain. So you have to balance, and especially Even preparing for the child also is a long-term commitment, at least for 3 years or 6 years commitment. Initially, it's a lifelong commitment, no doubt about it. But initial 6 years is very crucial. And in these 6 years, you should provide enough opportunities for the child to learn, to experience, and so that these 6 years will become a wonderful journey for the child as well as you, and it will be memorable for your entire life. So if you are not able to give adequate time, even if you are working, also take time, good amount of time. Definitely we have to compromise on certain things, but what you are gaining is a lot more, because motherhood is not for everyone. And that's why, people are also not opting for children now, because of they are not able to commit. For them, something else is more priority. Now that's why people are also opting or delaying their motherhood. Even if people are getting married, they are not going for this pregnancy immediately. We see people, that's why a lot of IVF centers now across the nation or across the world for that matter, people are using all kinds of methods to avoid pregnancy till 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and then they want to become mother. Sometimes, of course, there are different kind of perspectives here. So you are naturally, some things occur naturally. You can delay, but it should not go beyond, we should not drag beyond certain limitations, because there is something that age and body condition and the right time, right time, right place, right environment, which is more advantageous, more beneficial to you as well as your child. As the time passes, the vulnerabilities increase. You are less productive as your age increases. And again, it depends. So there are people who are very active reproductively, but again, it depends on your lifestyle. So some are very active even after their 60s also. So again, it depends on lifestyle. Not everyone is active. Generally, what happens after 30s or after 35s, especially for women, after 35s, there are a lot of complications that are coming up, especially with regard to pregnancy. So it doesn't mean that even today we are seeing 60 plus, 70 plus, 80 plus is also conceiving. Of course, with support, they need to invest a lot and more precautions, and everything is done. These are exceptional cases. We should not take these as ideal cases. These are exceptional cases which should not be taken as a norm. Again, that will create a lot of issues. That is the rarest case. Still, that support is available, but we have to ensure that it takes time, and in appropriate time, if it is introduced, if it is done, you will have a smooth journey ahead. So breastfeeding is easy generally, but it will also take time. Once you get used to it, then you will embrace it. Now, another myth is it's usual for breastfeeding to hurt. Sore nipples are invited. Most of the times, it's not. See, there are different reasons for sore nipples. We'll also look into medical aspects of that. Many mothers experience discomfort in the first few days after birth. And when they are learning to breastfeed, this discomfort is there. for most of them, or some of them. It all depends on whether you like the activity you are doing or not. Generally, we study a lot of things without interest. We do a lot of take up jobs without any interest, just for the sake of doing, or for the sake of money, or for the sake of keeping ourselves engaged, or for the sake of status. We do many things for different reasons. So similarly, if you do breastfeeding just for the sake of feeding baby, then you might not like it. You may not feel that comfort. You should embrace the activity. You should love that activity. And even that is not good for baby if you are thinking just because I have to feed my baby, I'm breastfeeding. That is also not good for your baby also. It is like you have to feed your children, so you have to cook and put there. Serving is also more important. Sitting with them with love, care, and affection, serving them, that makes a huge difference. It is as good as eating in a hotel outside and eating at home. There is a lot of difference. The way it is prepared, the way it is served, with a lot of care, love, compassion, affection, emotion. So you'll also enjoy. So there are various factors, physiological, psychological, social factors. And for sore nipples, there are also, see, we discussed about position and latching. So sore nipples are caused due to improper latching and also improper positioning. So if you don't, if the baby, if the positioning is not good, latching is not good, then there is more chances of these sore nipples that we will look at in detail in coming sessions. So many mothers experience discomfort, but many also do not. So it is not same for all. But with the right support, with positioning babies for breastfeeding and making sure that baby is correctly attached to the breast, sore nipples can be avoided. So why we took this topic first, is the latching and positioning is very important. Most of the problems faced by mother and as well as the baby is because of improper latching, improper positioning, and improper suckling. These three are major reasons of most of the issues that happen. So if a mother faces breastfeeding challenges like sore nipples, support from a lactation consultant or other skilled professional can help them overcome this issue. So you can take support, and we'll also look into that. We will have one session on that, on different challenges of breast, like sore nipples, inverted nipples, bloated nipples, and all those things. We'll discuss it in coming days. So you can also take a skilled professional if you have any doubt. And there is one myth also. You should wash your nipples before breastfeeding. This is not always necessary, but there is nothing wrong also if you wash. Okay? Washing your nipples before breastfeeding isn't always necessary, or in fact, it is not necessary. When babies are born, they are already very familiar with their own mother's smells and sounds. And the nipples also produce a substance that the baby smells and has a good bacteria that helps to build baby's own health immune system for life. When you wash your breast, what happens? This good bacteria, this good, substance is also lost. Now, you might be wondering that I am not, hygienic. So I'm very sweaty and, I'm not in a very healthy and hygiene condition. In that cases, you can wash before breastfeeding. There is nothing wrong. But again, it depends on the situation and the context where you are, how you are, what kind of condition in which you are. It depends. Generally, it is not required. But if at all the hygienic conditions are not good, then you can do it. Otherwise, it is not at all necessary. So that is also a myth. So you need not clean your breast or wash your breast before breastfeeding protects your baby from various infections, especially ear infections, diarrhea, pneumonia, and other childhood diseases. And it also helps boost your as well as your baby's immunity. There is also another myth that you should separate a newborn and mother to let the mother rest. So this is also a myth. This is not good as well as true. See, doctors, nurses, and midwives often encourage the practice of skin to skin contact, also known as kangaroo mother care, as we were discussing earlier also. Immediately after birth, bringing your baby in contact, direct contact, so that their skin is against yours, is a very important practice that helps them to find and attach to the breast. If you can practice this within 1 hour after the birth, then frequently after it helps to establish breastfeeding. If the mother cannot do this, then the partner or another family member or any other professional can step in. So, unless and until you or your baby has some medical condition that prevents to be both together, or any health or hygiene issue in that environment that prevents, it is not recommended. You should always stay, the baby and mother should stay together unless and until there is a medical issue or health or hygiene issue or security issue. Like generally what happens, in wards where it is too crowded or with so many mothers, generally what they do, hospitals, they cannot take care because many people will be coming, moving and around, and babies or mother also need to take rest. And we have seen many cases in hospitals where babies are also missing, and they might, fall, or they might come in contact with something. So they cannot focus on babies, especially where especially these general wards are where wards are more crowded. That's why what generally staff do is they bring in babies and take the babies and keep them in a separate nursing room where babies are kept, and more care is given, surveillance is there. That kind of practice is also prevalent. We have seen where attendants are also there and babies are also missing sometimes, or attendants are busy, preoccupied with themselves, and there is something that has happened to the baby. So these issues are there. Again, it depends on case to case. 99% of the time, there will be no issue. Only that 1%, somewhere here or there, something happens. But that builds up a perspective up to 99%. That is problem, As long as nothing happens, nothing goes wrong, there is no issue. Once something goes wrong, that's all. There is a big fuss about it in the town or the entire nation, entire world. So we always hope that nothing wrong happens, but still we don't know. But we should ensure that we are putting our best efforts to ensure that we are staying safe and secure. So that's why keeping mother and child together is always better, highly recommended. Because again, whenever the baby has to be breastfed, then he or she should be readily available, and that should be noticed. And mother also should learn, when the baby is hungry, when the baby is full. That initial interaction is also lost when they are not together. They need to learn interaction, learn each other's communication. So that is also very important. And there is another myth: you should only eat plain food while breastfeeding. So, like everybody else, breastfeeding mothers need to eat a balanced diet. Whether you are nursing or not, that doesn't matter, but everyone should be eating a healthy, fresh food, balanced, nutritious food. It is a balanced diet with all kind of vitamins, minerals, and micronutrients. In general, there is no need to change for food habits. Babies are exposed to their mother's food preferences from the times they are in the womb. So if a mother perceives that her baby reacts to a specific food she eats, it is best to consult a specialist. Generally, there might be certain reactions, allergic reactions to certain foods, and it varies from person to person. It is more individualized. But there are generally allergens causing food like peanuts. Generally, peanuts is the most allergy causing food for most of the world. We can see the highest prevalence. People are allergic to these peanuts. And there are some foods like that where, some foods cause allergy. So if you observe something that your baby is allergic to, that you can consult a professional and you can avoid that and go for an alternative, or you can treat so that they are no more allergic to them. Or if that could not be done immediately or over a period of time, then you can replace that with other food, food products in that group. Another myth is exercise will affect the taste of your milk. Now, these are common, queries. By doing certain activity, by not doing certain activity, the breast milk taste, especially this is quite common nowadays. People come up with so many queries on, these taste, how exactly the breast milk tastes. And how do I know if my breast milk tastes same or different? What if the breast milk taste changes, and what I need to do? These are also quite common questions or queries or concerns. Generally, you need not worry about the taste of the breast milk. Generally, it remains same, but it keeps changing also due to certain factors. That also we will try to cover if time permits in coming days. We will see one session on that as well. And there is also another myth that size of the breast, the bigger the size, the more milk, and the lesser the size, the less milk. That is also one of the greatest myths. See, that quantity of the breast milk does not depend on the size of the breast. Irrespective of your breast size, the breast milk quantity is adequate. So even small breasts also can produce good amount of milk. Even big breasts also can produce less amount of milk. It all depends on various other factors. Size of the breast doesn't or is not always directly proportionate to the size of the quantity of the breast. We'll also discuss on that. So don't bother especially this is quite common not only among the nursing mothers, but generally also we see a lot of concerns, especially with the girls and women, because nowadays, a lot of these media also created huge hype on size of breasts, so which is ideal size, which is not ideal size, lot of lot of unwanted things that is happening in the media and the kind of all such things. So nowadays, girls and women are also more concerned about the size of the breast and other things. And especially mothers are more concerned when they are planning for, this pregnancy or child, whether my breast is my breast size is adequate enough to provide the adequate milk for my child, whether I will be able to produce adequate milk for my child. So even I remember there was a session long back in around 5 to 6 years. I remember. I think there were a lot of questions on that, and so we organized uh, one day workshop where we dedicated one session only, dedicated that entire session 1 hour just to disseminate knowledge on the proportionality of breast size and quantity of milk produced. Very scientifically, technically, medically, we have there is a lot of research also shows that irrespective of your size of breast, you can still produce adequate milk to feed your baby. So no need to worry about that also. Okay. So there are various factors. That may be one of the factors. But in spite of that also, we haven't get around. But that is not true. Or it may not be completely true. To some extent, it is true, but not to that extent that it affects the breast milk. To that extent, you can be confident enough that you need not worry about the breast size. And you need not worry about the quantity of milk produced. And you need not worry also that it will not be adequate for your child. There are various other reasons, causes also. That also we'll look into detail in coming days. So exercise, as we were discussing, yoga, aerobics or all other physical activities, don't worry. There is no evidence that it affects the taste of your milk. See what happens. That's why even earlier, just before that also we were discussing whether to wash your breast before breastfeeding. What happens, generally, if you are tired, if you are sweating, because everyone's body has a different smell, different taste. This is natural. And this is everyone knows about, right? No one tastes the same. Of course, deliberately no one tastes anyone, but generally, uh, the sweat on your breast sometimes, or the salts, that is after once we sweat, we see, sometimes salt and other material on our hands, on our palms. And if you are not adequately, drinking water or something, it happens. There are various reasons. Again, that's a very different topic. But sometimes why this taste of milk changes, that is also, it will take a good amount of time. But generally, exercising will not change the taste of the milk. The taste of the milk again depends on various other factors, but generally, exercise or any workout or even your job also will not change your breast taste of milk. Okay, so need not worry about that. You continue to do your work, your job. If you are a sportsman, do it. If you want to keep yourself healthy, go for it. But don't stop breastfeeding. And another myth is you won't be able to breastfeed unless you do it straight way. Again. So this is also one more myth which we have also discussed it. So it is easier to get breastfeeding started if you begin in the first hour after birth because the baby reflexes are very strong at that time. Because it's this baby is in survival mode, right? We are in desperate need because we need to feed ourselves to survive, right? So that's why the baby has strong reflexes. So the baby will be, looking out for the breast to feed. That is a natural reflex given by God's gift, by nature to the baby so that the baby can survive. Otherwise, if baby is not naturally looking, what the baby will do? It will never approach for the breast, and again babies die natural death. That's what happens, when baby is not breastfed or not adequately fed, they soon, become malnourished and they die. That's why this mortality also is there more, especially under 5 years children. Even that's why initially those first, initial days, first few weeks are very crucial for survival. That's why the moment, as soon as possible, you should introduce your baby to breastfeeding. So that at that time, you will have that colostrum milk, and also your baby's reflexes are very strong. So they get used to the suckling, latching, and they also do all trial and error methods so that they are comfortable, and they also learn to feed from the breast, at the breast. So it is easier to get breastfeeding started if you begin in the first hour after birth because a baby's reflexes are very strong at the time. They are ready to learn to feed at the breast. If you do not latch your baby on the right, on right after the birth, immediately after birth, do it as soon as possible in your situation. Generally, I told you now, there might be various reasons like medical reason or some health hygiene reason or security reason or privacy reasons or many other reasons, where your baby couldn't be kept with the mother. So as soon as possible, try to keep your baby and try to latch your baby to your breast. If you need help putting your baby to the breast, ask for the support from your family members or friends, whoever they are accompanying with you, or you can also seek for a professional's help or a qualified lactation consultant or other skilled professional. Frequent skin to skin contact and putting your baby to the breast will help you to get breastfeeding going. And also, it will boost you emotionally. You will have that bond relationship. So don't worry, even if you are not introducing your baby, immediately, don't think that you cannot do it later. It's better late than never. And breastfeeding protects the mother from diabetes, breast and ovarian cancers, heart disease, postpartum depression, and so on. Now, there is also another myth. You can never use formula if you want to breastfeed. Now, this is also one, one more myth that is happening, that is quite common, sorry. So mothers may decide, see, you have always this option. You always have this option of when to stop. Why? Because as long as you are able to produce breast milk, you are able to feed, right? But once the breast milk production stops, then you will have no option because there is no breast milk at all. So, as long as, so you should start, don't think, that's why we were discussing earlier also, don't worry about future, whether you will be able to breastfeed or not. Now, immediately, it is your duty, it is your obligation, it is child right to be breastfed. So you start immediately, don't think about future. As long as you can breastfeed, you do it. Whenever you can, you do it. Don't worry, today I am not able to breastfeed, tomorrow I will do it. You find time at least. So even if you are not able to do the same amount of time daily, but whenever it is possible, wherever it is possible, how much time it is possible, do breastfeed. That will help stimulating and that will keep the production going. Otherwise, the production will come down and soon you will lose the milk production and your baby will have no other option than to depend on other alternatives, where your baby's health is also compromised, can be highly compromised, vulnerable. So that's why don't do it as long as you can do. You try your best to do breastfeeding directly. If not, you can do indirectly. Like I said, you can express your milk, breast milk, and store it in containers and feed the baby. How long it can be stored? Again, it depends on the kind of storage conditions. Where you are storing, how you are storing, what is the internal and external temperature. Generally, till 24 hours, it is safe if stored in normal conditions. If you want to store for a longer period, then you need to refrigerate that milk. That also we will have one session when we are talking about donor foster milking mothers and so on. We'll also have an exclusive session on that, how to express your breast milk, how to feed your baby indirectly. That also we'll see that. So almost all mothers produce enough milk, adequate milk, and you may also decide to use formula on some occasions while continuing to breastfeed. It is important to seek unbiased information on formula and other products. See, that should be only used as a supplement after 6 months, or if you are not able to produce adequate breast milk, or if you are not able to procure breast milk from other donors, then you have very little options. In that options, you can go for the formula milk, and that also you need to ensure that they are continue to provide breast milk, and as a supplement to meet the requirements, you can use formula milk. So keep breast milk production going. The most important thing is we should ensure that production of breast milk continues. So for that, we need to breastfeed and continue offering the breast to your baby as often as possible. It can be useful for mothers to consult a lactation specialist or skilled professionals to help with a plan that works best for them to continue. And there is also another myth. I think we are running out of time, but okay, we'll continue tomorrow. Like many mothers can't produce enough milk, so that is also not true. Again, see, milk production is determined how well the baby is latched on the breast and the frequency of breastfeeding and how well the baby is removing milk from your breast through consumption of milk. And, lot of things are there. See, the more you withdraw milk, so that will be more motivated, and even the glands will be secreting more milk. So these all that there. We will take up one session in detail on this aspect also, like how much average a breast can produce breast milk, and how to increase the milk, or if there is excess milk that is produced, then you have the option of donating milk. If you produce more milk than your baby can consume, often you see overflowing breasts. You can see milk, uh, you know, flowing from your breast. Of course, there are various reasons for that. Not it's always full, and because sometimes it happens, you are a bit more fortunate that you can provide breast milk to other child also. If you have more milk producing than required, then you can also express that milk and donate to breastfeeding networks. There are there. Nowadays, even government hospitals are providing is breastfeeding milk banks, breast milk banks. To them, you can donate, and you will be a very good source. So we'll see all these myths. There are a lot of myths. We'll also try to discuss tomorrow. And thank you, everyone, once again for joining us. Due to time constraints, we are ending these sessions now, but we'll continue our discussion. We'll continue our dialogue tomorrow also. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. So quickly fill up the feedback form that has been shared in the form of polls before leaving, as it marks your attendance and your participation for the day. So see you all tomorrow at the same time with the same journey with more informations. You keep sharing whatever you would like to know. You keep asking questions, you keep sharing your concerns, challenges, and we will be happy to include all those in our presentations. Or if you'd like to share your observations, experiences, feel free to come forward and share them so that we all can learn from your experiences as well. So thank you once again, everyone, for joining us. See you all tomorrow. Take care. Good night.